بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعه إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد. So far in Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described to us how the categories of mankind are. Basically a believer and a disbeliever, a muttaqi and a kafir. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose the word muttaqi rather than mu'min at the beginning. And a muttaqi, it has to do with belief, but more of an action. Okay, it is believing in the ghaib, but also performing the prayer. Okay, al-iman, it could mean mostly an inner work than an external work, but it indicates the external work as well. And then the kuffar, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala divided them to kuffar and munafiqeen, and it's the same category. It's all under kufr. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described to us who the kuffar are, as far as their you give them da'wah, you do not give them da'wah, they are the same. They will not believe. There are seal in their heart because of what they have done. The munafiqun, they cause mischief on earth, but then you try to give them guidance, okay? And they say, we are guided, we're doing good, and so forth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks to us also examples, a method of those who seeking to find light, meaning a source of light, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give them the light. Then because of their disobedience, Allah will take that light around them away from them. They will not know where to go. And or the example of the rain that comes down, but it has harm in it. It has lightning and thunder and so forth. So it's a confusion of a path, and they're seeking some source of guidance different than the guidance of Allah. Basically, that is the description. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah, today will listen to the description of what Iman is, what belief is, or what Tawheed is. And it's just a beautiful ayat, very simple or very straightforward explanation of Tawheed al-Rububiyyah and Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah, okay? And the punishment and reward at the end for those who do not follow and those who follows. So inshallah we'll take this cluster of ayat all together so we can get all the whole concept together inshallah and do not divide it. تفضل أخونا إبراهيم.
من السماء ماء فأخرج به من الثمرات رزقا لكم فلا تجعلوا لله فاتقوا النار التي وقودها الناس والحجارة أعدت للكافرين وبشر الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات أن لهم جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار كلما رزقوا منها من ثمرة رزقا قالوا هذا الذي رزقنا من قبل وأتوا به متشابها ولهم فيها أزواج مطهرة وهم فيها خالدون.
جزاكم الله خير.
O humanity, worship your Lord who created you and those before you, so that you may become mindful of Him. He is the one who has made the earth a place of settlement for you and the skies a canopy, and sends down rain from the sky, causing fruits to grow as a provision for you, so do not knowingly set up equals to Allah in worship. And if you are in doubt about what He have revealed to you, to our servant, then produce a chapter like it, and call your helpers other than Allah, if what you say is true. But if you are unable to do so, and you will never be able to do so, then fear the fire filled with people and stones, which is prepared for the disbelievers. Give good news of prophets to those who believe and do good, that they will have gardens under which rivers flow, whenever provided with fruits, and they will say, this is where we were given before. For they will be served fruits that look similar but taste different. They will have the pure spouses, and they will be there forever.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه، أما بعد. يرحمك الله. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala begins this ayat by addressing mankind. And it is now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first time addressing mankind in the Quran. Imagine yourself for the first time opening the Quran and reading. Okay? Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking to everyone and telling them to worship Him. Okay? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not say worship Allah. يا أيها الناس اعبدوا ربكم. Okay? That is a reminder that He is the one who is your Rabb. Remember, the provider, the sustainer, the caretaker of you. Okay? And the Rabb also is your master as well. Okay? So, اعبدوا ربكم. So mankind would ask, why? What is the purpose of that? Or why Allah in particular? Why can't I just, seek to worship anything that I wish? Okay? But this act of worship, it is an act toward a deity that is doing something for you. Right? Because it has a kind of appreciation of what you're receiving. So here is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala begins the reason why you worship Allah by saying Rabbukum, ربكم اعبدوا ربكم الذي خلقكم والذين من قبلكم. He's the one who created you and created those before you. Another word, if you claim or take any deity beside Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you ask yourself, is this deity, did it create anything? Did it create you? Does it provide for you and so forth? So did it create, in this part, did it create you? الَّذِي خَلَقَكُمْ. So go to any other deity that you worship and see if they created you. And the answer, of course, is no. Because any deity beside Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a creation. And once you look at the creation, you see the deficiency in them. You see that they are in need. Any kind of a creation, they are in need. They have some kind of a handicap. Okay? Any kind of creation, they have qualities, they have epitome of certain things, but they have a lot of deficiencies. Okay? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is the one who created you. Okay? So, worship the Creator who created you and created those before you. And what is the purpose? لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. So you may reach taqwa. So, if you translate taqwa now, or understand taqwa as to be conscious of Allah, you can argue, well, Allah in the beginning of the ayah says, "U'budu rabbakum," worship your Lord, you're the one, your creator. So if you decide to worship your creator, you are already conscious of Him. Right? If you worship Allah, you are conscious of Allah. Right? So I'm worshiping Allah, so I reach to the level of being conscious of Allah. When I'm at the beginning, I'm conscious of Allah. So the taqwa here has, it indicates more definition than just be conscious of Allah. So the root of taqwa is protection. So within this here, it is more of a protection than being conscious of Allah. And also conscious of Allah is in it. And being, piety is in it. But now it's more of protection. Okay? It has some kind of a warning here as well. And it has an indication that there are harms that will be coming to you as you are existing in this life. But with the taqwa, you're going to prevent these harms. This is a prevention. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. And also there is harm in the hereafter. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, of this harm. Okay? So now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues and talks to us about, to whole mankind, about the reason why they should worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes us to worship Him by reminding us with what He is given to us. So we can appreciate, and also an argument here, and a statement that you cannot, facts that you cannot claim for any other deities. The first one is the creation. The second, الذي جعل لكم الأرض فراشا. He's the one who made the earth for you, a place that's for comfort for you. Any of those that you worship beside Allah, who are the creation, can claim that they created the earth, or they created, or they made it in such a way that will be a place of comfort for you in this universe, in these galaxies that you are in, this planet. Anything in this planet that is existing in this planet is the one that created this planet and made it comfort for you? And the answer is no. So now you are getting closer now or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is getting us closer to make that case. Okay. Then, because the first thing that you need, or the first thing that you realize, is that you are created. But then after that you are created, you have needs, right? You have needs. You need a place to stay, the first thing. And this is what we do when we decide to travel. When we decide to travel, we see the place that we are going. If you're going to have an extended stay there, where are we going to stay? The first thing is the shelter. As a human being that's existing in earth, they look for the shelter before anything else. So, جعل لكم الأرض فراشا والسماء بناء, and built above you this sky, and meaning in the way that you are wondering about it. How is this above you like that? It is above you, but it is not held with some pillars that makes it stay up. And at night you see things there, okay, objects in the skies, okay, stars and moon and the sun in the morning and so forth, daytime. Okay, so this is a place that's comfort for you, because the earth itself is made as a place that's paved for you as well. Okay, so you could stay in it and get your provision from it. And the sky above you has the sun in the morning to warm you up and so forth. Prepared everything this year for you. And then what do you need next after a place to stay? That's before the food, you need water. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَأَنزَلَ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً. Okay, and He brought the water from the sky for you. So is there anyone that can claim that they are responsible for bringing this water? In another ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying that, look at the cloud above you and look how the water comes down from it. Are you the one who brings the water down, the rain down, or are we the one? And if we wish, we'll make it salty. Okay, so here it is, the water is coming down for you. Okay, and then what else after a place to stay? After you are created, you need a place to stay, you need water to drink, you need food to eat. Okay, فَأَخْرَجَ بِهِ مِنَ الثَّمَرَاتِ رِزْقًا لَكُمْ. And with that water, brought up from the earth ثَمَرَات, many of harvest for you. Okay, rizq, and means of sustenance for you. Okay, so another word, the earth is there for you, but without the water, the earth does not give you any provision. So now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought the rain down from the sky so you can have the provision. Okay, so فَأَخْرَجَ بِهِ مِنَ الثَّمَرَاتِ رِزْقًا لَكُمْ. So now only this ayat, it made the case. Okay, it made the case immediately. Okay, you are created, and you need a provision, you need a place to stay, you need water to drink, you need food to eat. That's it, all the provision for you. Then immediately Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَلَا تَجْعَلُوا لِلَّهِ أَنْدَادًا وَأَنْتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. Do not take partners with Allah, and you know it now. You know it. In other words, there is no point of arguing. You cannot argue now. You cannot argue with this. Okay? You cannot give this claim to what I just claimed to any creation. Okay? So now, after all of this, and now you reach the conclusion, yes, you're right. I cannot argue with that. But then the question after this is, how am I going to do that? I decided to worship you, Allah, but how am I going to do that? Okay? So you need to tell me how. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answers that question. وَإِن كُنْتُمْ فِي رَيْبٍ. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, and if you have doubt. So, did we say we have doubt? Okay? Did we say we said now, Ya Allah, yes, we believe that that is all coming from you, Allah. So you want to hear what? And this book is ready for you to be guided with and so forth. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going beyond that point, talking to the one who argues. Okay? Answering a question without stating the question. Right? So what is the question? How do I know that this is from you, Ya Allah? That's the question. So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have said, this book is coming to you for your guidance, so forth and so on, you might argue. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala closed the door for arguments immediately. Okay? You worship me, I'm giving you everything. Right? You're going to say, how? If you have doubt of what I brought upon my slave, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, bring any surah like it. Okay? There is no going around here. There is no, just words that has just a filler. There is no fillers. There are no fillers here. It's all substance here. Okay? فأتوا بسورة من مثل. Bring a surah like it. And what is a surah? A surah, any surah. إِنَّا أَعْطَيْنَاكَ الْكَوْثَرِ is a surah, 3 verses. Another word, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say, bring, 3 verses like it, like that. Okay. Then you're going to try and say, I'm going to try. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ahead of time, they're telling you, before you argue, فَإِن لَمْ تَفْعَلُوا وَلَن تَفْعَلُوا. And if you cannot, and you'll never be able to, the matter is done. It's closed. Okay? You will never be able to do this. Okay? And then there is no fillers again, immediately. فَإِن لَمْ تَفْعَلُوا وَلَن تَفْعَلُوا فَاتَّقُوا النَّارِ. Be aware of hellfire now. Protect yourself from hellfire. See, here is فَاتَّقُوا here. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ at the beginning. Here, فَاتَّقُوا النَّارِ. Okay? Because now by you believing and if you taking this guidance from this book, you are protecting yourself. فَاتَّقُوا النَّارَ الَّتِي وَقُودُهَا النَّاسُ وَالْحِجَارَةُ. That protect yourself from a nar, fire, the fuel of which is people and stone. It's so direct and so hitting right on the target. Putting fear on those who argue. Okay? Challenge them, put a fear in their heart immediately. Okay? فَاتَّقُوا النَّارَ الَّتِي وَقُودُهَا النَّاسُ وَالْحِجَارَةُ. And not only that, أُعِدَّتْ. It was prepared already. لِلْكَافِرِينَ. For those who are kafirin now, who are the kafirin now? Who are denying all of what we just mentioned. Who are the one who's covering all that which was mentioned. Because that mentioned is clear. What was mentioned was clear. Okay? It is something obvious. It is something, if somebody argue with you, okay, they having deity besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, all you have to do is just ask them, this which you worship beside Allah, did it create anything? No. Does it bring did it create this planet Earth for you? No. Does it bring rain down for you? No. Does it cause the fruit and harvest to come out for you? No. So it has no ability to sustain you. No. So why do you worship it then? Okay? Then you ask, then who is the creator and the provider and the sustainer then? And they argue, they say Allah, or they say God. So they say, why don't you worship God? They say, we are using something to get close to God. So why do you want to make a big deal out of that? Okay? The big deal out of that is you worship Allah according to the way He tells you, not according to your desire. Because the act of worship here, you are bringing it into some kind of understanding that it is not the understanding. The act of worship here meaning it is the obedience. The obedience, that's what worship is. Ibadah equal to ta'ah. Okay? Worship is equal to obedience. Okay? So if you decide not to follow what Allah has given you from guidance and say, I'm worshiping God, no, you're not. You're worshiping your desires. You do, because once you take a deity beside Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this deity is not telling you, giving you any kind of guidance. It's very convenient to worship an idol who does not tell you what to do. To worship a tree, an animal, a bird, whatever it is. Okay? And you say, God exists, I'm coming to you, God, through this here. Okay? Because if I do that, this, what I'm taking, as a means to get to you, it's not telling me what to do. Very convenient. Okay? Then some will say, okay, I'm not going to take this any partners with Allah, but I'm going to, worship Allah. How? I feel Allah in me. I know that Allah knows me, and I know Allah. Just get away from between me and my Lord. I know, I have a relationship with my Lord. No, you don't. Okay, unless you obey, and your act of worship will be an obedience, then you're not worshiping your Lord. Then you don't know your Lord. You don't know the Creator of the heavens and the earth. The only way to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is through His words. Okay? Through the obedience to Him and total submission to Allah. So the case is made. Okay? Taking us by hand from Tawheed al-Rububiyyah to Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah. And you will find this method Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala using it throughout the Quran. Using it throughout the Quran by a messenger comes to people, and the messenger tells them, Allah is telling you about this, look at what Allah did for you, look at this and look at that, there's a na'am that Allah bestowed upon you and so forth. Shouldn't you worship Him? Shouldn't you submit to Him? Shouldn't you obey Him? And so forth. That is the message. Okay? So here now, وَبَشِّرْ, give glad tidings. Okay? Glad tidings, good news. الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, those who believe and do the good deeds. So that they are internally and externally are slaves to Allah. Okay? They do not separate between the two. Okay? الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات أن لهم جنات. For them they are jannat. Now here is first Allah told us أولئك هم المفلحون, right? Those who have taqwa, المتقون, أولئك هم المفلحون. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us now that is al-falah here is to get into Jannah. Okay? And Jannat, once you hear that, meaning abundance of vegetation that is tall and dense and beautiful. Okay? Now when you are in it, you disappear, if you will. Jannah, again, it is a word that has to do with concealing. Concealing not in a way of rejection, conceal something that you mean to reject it, but concealing meaning you are protected in it, if you will. Like, a Jannah, once you enter it, nobody can see you where you are in there, if you will. Different than Hadiqa. Hadiqa also is the garden. But a garden that has, like your backyard garden, the vegetable garden is a Hadiqa. Okay? But Jannah, it is more of a vast vegetation that is tall and dense. Okay? Under it, there are rivers that are running. It is now for the first time in the Quran, they have that description now. Okay? Here is the rivers that are running in it, and you are in Jannah that is covering you. Now, كلما رزقوا منها من ثمرة رزقا قالوا. Every time they get a rizq from it, they say, okay, every time they get a fruit from it, a rizq from it, they say, okay, meaning that there is a rizq coming to you in Jannah. Kullama, each time and every time. That means it's always bringing you something. Always, there is no boredom there, okay? And as soon as you get it, okay, they will say, هذا الذي رزقنا من قبل. This is what we were given before, okay? Another word, what's in it will be similar to that which we had in this life, okay? So why? What's special about that? What's special about that is that part of the reward and the joy and the enjoyment is to be familiar with something, right? To be familiar with something that's a joy in itself, right? Don't we always look at our past in a way of nostalgia, right? Especially like me, getting old and so forth, right? And you go, oh, those days, right? And you go, oh, those fruits and all this food and all these friends and all, right? There is an enjoyment in the familiarity with the past. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving you that taste of it in this ayah. Okay? But in this life, when we try to go back so you can get the same feeling, you don't find it. Right? Many of us go back home. Myself, I went back home after I've been here for many, many years. And I went back to the same place, the same bed, the same pillow, the same everything, the same friends, everything. And I thought I was going like the same food, okay? And it was not the same, right? So I wanted to have that, I just saw the familiarity of things, but I am not, my being is not reacting to it the same way, okay? Like almost my memory of it is more enjoyable than experiencing it anymore, right? Going there, I say, I go back to the United States and dream of it, that with more pleasure. You understand? Why? Why is that? It's because of the way we enjoyed it before we were very young. And very young meaning you were not polluted. Your fitra was not polluted, right? Your heart was clean, right? So your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was very close, but you don't realize it. So everything was beautiful. Not because things tasted well, because of your bed, because of this, it's because of your relationship with Allah. But as we grow older, we do not realize that. We realize that these things, that the one that brought this familiarity, right? Now, like this food, you taste it, but it doesn't taste like, no, get close to Allah and it will taste good. Okay? In a way. But also it does not taste well than the past as well, yes. Okay? But in Jannah, you'll have both. Right? Your Jannah in your heart now, there is nothing in it that spoils any relationship. And the recognition and submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there. So that clarity and clean heart and nafs is there. So it reflects that feeling of closeness to Allah. So when you see that which you are familiar with before, oh, it will truly be enjoying. You'll be truly enjoying it. So But when you are actually tasted, it is nothing like what you had before. It is a magnification in thousands and billions time than you had before. Okay? So that nostalgia to you is going to be, nothing. Okay? It will be more than what you can imagine. So here is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the first time in the Quran introducing us to Jannah by giving this example, that when you see what's in it, when they see what's in it, they will say, هذا الذي رزقنا من قبل. This is what we received before. Okay? وأتوا به متشابها. And they were given mutashabih, meaning it is like it. It is not it, but is like it. Meaning it is like it because to give you that joy. Okay? But when you taste it, oh, that's not like it. It is more than I could imagine. Okay? But now you're not going to be alone. وَلَهُمْ فِيهَا أَزْوَاجٌ مُطَهَّرَةٌ. Okay? And in it they have spouses, mutahhara. And some scholars look at this and say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the language could be used the azwaj mutahharat, right? Meaning in a plural form. But Allah put it in a single form. Azwaj, spouses, that's plural. Mutahhara, meaning in a single form, purified. In English, you cannot do that, right? So here, some scholars saying that this is telling you that spouses that are purified, meaning is one kind of purification, meaning that they are equal. You cannot see something more pure than what you have, right? So you could say, no, I want the other because what I have is not as pure as that. No, the tathir is the same. Okay? The tuhr is the same. Okay? So there is nothing that you get that you say, I need something. There is nothing that you could see and you say, I want that because what I have I'm not satisfied with. And what I see is better than what I have. That will not exist. So this is a hint that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us to tell us that which is in this life, okay, has deficiency in it. You can always compare. But that which you have in Jannah, you will have in Jannah, inshallah. You cannot compare it to something else and say, that else I want because I'm comparing to what I have, and what I have is less than what I see. That will not exist. How is this existent? It's going to be. We cannot even begin to realize this in this life. Right? Meaning that you could. Oh, Jazakumullah khairan. Jazakallah khair. Bismillah. That we cannot quite imagine this feeling, but we can understand it, begin to understand. And that is how one of the miracles of the Quran. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who created us, and He's the one who's talking to us. So He can give you some words that start to give you some kind of familiarity with a concept, but you could never find it in this life. Isn't this amazing, right? Give you a concept that does not exist, but you can understand it. But you can never surround it with your feeling and capture it. but you can begin to understand it. Okay? So here is the whole package. Okay, the Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, telling you to come to Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah, telling you there is a message, tell you this message is the way to Allah, and you cannot argue with this message. If you do get something like it, you cannot, you will not, there is hellfire and this paradise. The case is done. Okay? So now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is preparing us now to what? To read the Quran. Right? There is something before reading the beginning of the creation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us, after this cluster of ayat, right, that we just mentioned, another cluster of ayat, okay, together, before telling us now Allah created Adam alayhi salam. The beginning of the creation. Okay? You would think now you're ready, you want to hear the beginning of the creation now. I want to hear the story now, I want to get the guidance. No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you ayat, a cluster of ayat, to tell you how to deal with the Quran. To tell you it is not just, there is an etiquette of how to understand and read the Quran. And here it is. Now that you are ready, now you are ready to get the guidance, I'm going to tell you how to deal with the Quran, the proper way to deal with the Quran. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وهم فيها خالدون جزاكم الله خير. And they are in it forever. Okay? Again, another word that we know what it means, but we cannot never experience it, right? That to be existing forever. Another word, that which is the process of change, and part of that change is you changing and getting old. Time is affecting you. The concept of time later on will be different. Can you imagine existing in a place that time is not a component of it? What is that? Okay, now they are in it forever. That is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you that time is not a component of that. It's not a part of that kind of life. Okay? You're existing in time, but that time is not the time that you are familiar with. Okay? The time that you're familiar with is that has a change in it and it's affecting you. Okay? And affecting you in a negative way. You know you're going to die. Okay? And the time is affecting you. But imagine yourself in an existence as such. Okay? You can understand the word, you know what it means, but you could never grasp it completely. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Please, if you'd like to make any comments, inshallah.
You mentioned the fitra in the beginning and then when you revisit.
Yes.
But in the beginning, when we are young as a children, I think it's more pure nature.
Yes.
When you grow up, you get your biases and
all kind of rust and dust becomes in. Yeah.
that's the best part of life is childhood. We don't.
Yes. Yes. But also when we get older, through the obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we can clean that up. Okay? And we can capture that back again. Okay? Yeah, inshallah. Yeah. Any other comments, inshallah? Okay, أخوان صديق تفضل.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Alhamdulillah, today we continue with Surah Al-Baqarah and we did 5 ayahs from ayah number 21 to 25. In these ayahs, like the Shaykh explained, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us about the belief. Who created you, you should believe in that. And before that, few ayahs, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, showed us the 3 categories of the people. three categories of people. People who are the muttaqeen, means the believers, and they really believe in whatever Allah expects them to believe. And then the kafirun, those who are rejecting the faith and they do not believe, and